Galway City on a mild Friday afternoon in February, and now we are looking forward to the Galway International Rally for 1984, which is due to start in just a few minutes. What a rally it should be, because that king of Irish rallying, Billy Coleman, is seated at number 1 in the dealer Opel Team Ireland Opel Manta 400. And the interesting thing about it is that it's not just the king who is here, because the young pretender, the Irish Tarmac International Rally champion Austin Mchale, is seated at number 2 in a similar car with the same team. It promises to be a terrific battle. Brendan Fagan then is seated at number 3, and then Mc Hale, and behind him are all sorts of other people who will be well worth watching to see what will happen. There are 9 stages today, going right through to about 9:30 tonight. Then of course Saturday morning, and what a terrific day that should be, all down round about Gort, and then Sunday with the finish off in much the same area, including the very, very famous Corkscrew Hill climb around Lisdoonvarna. So it promises to be 3 grueling, very interesting days. The weather is surprisingly mild, but on the Galway International Rally anything could happen, and we expect that to happen this year. Billy, the man who's known as the king of Irish rallying, how do you feel about being number 1 and having Austin, perhaps the young pretender, behind you?
Well, apprehensive, Robin, I'd say, more than anything else. Obviously been out of the sport at top level for quite a while now. I'm in a new car, steering wheel is on the wrong side, very difficult roads, but having said that, raring to go.
Well, with the pair of you in dealer Opel Team Ireland, is there such thing as team orders at all?
I haven't heard them yet, but I'm sure if Austin is leading by 5 minutes tonight, they might have something to say to me.
I see, and you would be ready to go along with that, would you?
Well, as long as I get back to it in 10 seconds by tomorrow night, I'd be happy enough.
And then sort it all out on Sunday, is that it?
Something like that.
Have you had a chance to try the car at all, Billy?
Very little at all. We had 10 minutes last night maybe, but then Opels tend to be easy to drive, and I'm sure I'll get the grips with it. Might take a while.
Does left-hand drive worry you?
Doesn't worry me, but I'm under, I had no illusions about the task ahead, to put it that way to you. It's the last left-hand drive I drove was probably 4 or 5 years ago, and it's quite a long time, but as I say, it's quite a long rally, and I'm sure we'll ease ourselves in slowly.
Good, I'm sure you'll do well. Thanks, Billy, very much. Brendan, seated at number 3, but not feeling the best of health. What's the problem?
I've had a bad dose of some viral flu for the last week, but hopefully it's going away now.
What's the situation with the car? Is it a bit better than you are?
The car is in fine shape, yeah.
What are your tactics, or have you worked out any yet?
Well, I don't know. The last time I was down here, I was leading after the Friday night, and I made a mistake on Saturday, which probably cost me victory in the rally. I'm going to see after the first loop tonight how everybody else is going, and if I find I'm competitive at the pace I'm at, I'll stay going at that speed.
So you intend coming back into Galway this evening then about 9:30, leading the rally?
Well, these Mantas are very powerful, and there's 2 very good drivers in them, but I'm going to do my best.
Of course you will. Thanks, Brendan, very much. On day 1, 3 stages were completed 3 times by the 68 starters, the first 3 in daylight just. The 2 Mantas go through, driven by rally favourites Billy Coleman and Austin Mchale. Brendan Fagan going through with the Chevette, followed by Mc Hale. Another escort now, that of Banbridge man Ken McKinstry. Mark Reynolds with the big Ascona, and he's followed by Joe Mc Hale, capable of surprises, but he did have fuse problems at this point. He in turn is followed by Mike Dunnion. Ian Calvin now with another Ascona, and Bill Connolly from County Kilkenny with the Group 5 escort. He's followed by Alan Fraser and the big Ferrari of Tony Warswick. Keith Edwards, another English visitor, and John Connor going well with the escort, followed by John Price with the little Renault 5 Turbo. Jack Lyons in the same class as Connolly was really flying. Ken Irwin now going through, followed by Mike Dunnion's brother, Pat. Ken McMillan with the G3 escort, followed by the little Mini of Ron Neely. At the end of the 3 daylight stages, Coleman was 4th. Fagan was leading, and Austin Mchale was 3rd. Mc Hale was a fine 2nd, and Ken McKinstry was equal 4th with Coleman. Ian Calvin with the Ascona having problems one way or another, and he in turn followed by Bill Connolly and Alan Fraser. Jack Lyons was an amazing 6th. Austin, very briefly, at second service now on Friday night. What's your situation at the moment?
I don't really know. I think we're approximately about 8 or 10 seconds ahead of Brendan. We're leading the event at the moment. We had a fairly good run over the stages there the last time, and things seem to be going okay now.
Are you settling into the car nicely? You're happy with it?
Yeah, we're taking it fairly cautiously because it's a completely different car to ride on the Chevette. But we're getting fairly used to it now.
Finally, and your teammate Billy, do you feel that he's going to be a threat?
Yeah, he'd be definitely a threat. Like, you know, Billy is good. He's an awful lot of experience. But we're ahead of him at the moment, but we'll play it by ear to the morning. Like, there's 2 days left, a long way to go yet.
A long way. Thanks, Austin. Good night to you. Alan, how have things been for you for the first 6 stages?
Very, very bumpy, very wet, very slippy. The car's a bit like a kangaroo. It kind of bounces all over the stages, but it hasn't been too bad. It's been drizzly, and I think it's getting foggy as well, so if I can get these last 3 stages over, I'll be happy for tonight anyway.
Have you any ideas to position?
I haven't the faintest idea, and I don't really want to know either. I reckon that tomorrow there's 180 stage miles crammed into a fairly short period of time, and that's where the rally will be won and lost, not these little things tonight. You know, they're far too just very futtery, very short, and better to get them over with, really, you know.
Okay, well, you go ahead and do that. Thanks, Alan.
Very much, thank you. All right.
As soon as darkness fell, the greasy roads claimed Austin Mchale, who had led after the second loop of stages by 8 seconds from Coleman. Mc Hale's Escort suffered from punctures and was another top return. Jack Lyons' Friday night flyer came to an end beside Austin Mchale's damaged Opel on stage 7, and John Connor's Escort was another car to drop out of the rally on the first day. With Austin Mchale out of the rally, it looked all too easy for Coleman, but Galway always has surprises in store. Saturday morning, and Billy Coleman leads by 1 minute and 7 seconds in the Opel Manta from Brendan Fagan. Brendan Fagan and his co-driver Ronan McNamee were driving the Vauxhall Chevette and making the best of slightly greasy conditions once again on the Saturday. In third place was Ken McKinstry with the Escort. Ken McKinstry, who did so well in the Stages Rally Championship in 1983, really going well in this international, followed by Bill Connolly with the Group 5 Escort, Gore's Bridge man, really enjoying the conditions. In fifth place was Pat Dunnion from Donegal, going well with the Little Sunbeam. And from across the water, Ian Donaldson really enjoys Irish tarmac rallying and was reveling in these conditions. Another man always worth looking at, of course, Alan Fraser, making up more or less his own rules. But Joe Mc Hale, everybody was expecting him to do well. He was enjoying it, getting down to a Group 4 car for the first time and really enjoying the power. Mark Reynolds was feeling his way in 9th place with the big Opel Ascona. And in 10th place was that very regular visitor, Keith Edwards, going well with the Sunbeam. Ian Calvin in another Ascona. Billy Coleman at this point must have been feeling pretty confident about his third Galway Rally win. But Brendan Fagan was staying in there because you never know. Ken McKinstry was a fine third, but Bill Connolly, who had been fourth, had retired. And Ian Donaldson was now in 4th place. Alan Fraser had a very good 5th place. And Joe Mc Hale was next. Mark Reynolds almost catching Mc Hale there. And Pat Dunnion going very well. Ian Calvin getting used to the Ascona. And Keith Edwards raveling in the tarmac stages. John Price doesn't just get it right. Very untypical. And that class chaser, Frank Fennell, always neat and exciting to watch. And Ken McMillan really enjoying himself. Tony Warswick with the big Ferrari doesn't seem to like going round corners, but it loves going in a straight line. Drew Wiley now with one of the little Sambas, very much the stars of the rally in their own way. Barry Duggan had a lot of gearbox trouble, but was very neat. And there's Michael Parks with the little Polo, followed by Ron Neely, and then Mike Dunnin, who was really fighting his way back. The town of Gort was to be the centre for servicing on both the Saturday and the Sunday. Billy, some problems this morning, lost a little time perhaps?
Well, we had a slow puncture. That was the biggest problem, and the other thing was we're a bit slow getting going, and conditions are very tricky. So maybe we're being a little bit too careful.
So trying to be wise. Anyway, Ronan, your erstwhile driver, Brendan Fagan, now claims that he's 1 second ahead of you. You don't agree with that, do you?
Well, I'd say it's quite close, Robin. There's a bit of a dispute going on over time, so we don't know exactly what the situation is at the moment, but no matter what, I still think we're at least 2 seconds ahead of him.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, Billy, is it? Yeah. Well, you're both very confident anyway. You're not worried at all by any pressure at all at this stage.
Well, I mean, you're obviously, you have to keep an eye on things, but obviously we're going to have to take some time back now. But we see we're running first car then as well, and if there's oil on the road or something, we're the people who are going to find it first and have the accident. So we've got to keep that in the back of our minds. And obviously that's going to cost a little bit of time, but we have to finish. So
cautious optimism, boys, eh?
Yeah, you could call it that, I suppose.
Okay, thanks very much. Thanks. Brendan, a bit of a dispute perhaps between yourselves and the timekeepers at the moment, is there?
Not between me and the timekeepers. I leave that to the co-drivers to sort out.
What is the difference, do you think?
We think we're 4 seconds behind Billy, but the time the organisers say we're 34 seconds. There's a half-minute discrepancy somewhere.
Yeah, Billy seems fairly convinced that that is correct. So what is your policy now? Are you going to just go very hard, or are you going with caution?
Well, I think I haven't been going that hard because Kenny McKinstry and Joe Mc Hale have been as quick and not quicker in some stages than we are. I think Billy has just gone a bit slower this morning.
And you're just going to sit and watch, are you?
I'm just going to go at the same pace this time around as well, because I don't think we can be caught from behind, and maybe we can catch Billy.
Yeah, and perhaps leave it all till tomorrow?
Leave it all. There's a long way to go yet. There's still over 200 miles to go yet.
True. Okay, keep at it, Brendan. How's the flu?
Yeah, it's a little bit better.
Bit better. Good. That's the important thing. Good luck. Mark, you appear to be getting to grips very well with the Ascona. How do you assess the situation?
Well, I'm very relaxed at the moment. Probably too relaxed. That's probably my problem. But hopefully now, with a few little bits and pieces sort of coming together, I would hope, we'll make a bit of a dash for the front in the next 6 stages.
Where do you feel you are at the moment?
Not really sure. I'd say around 6 or 7, something like that.
Yeah. So, how did you find the stages this morning? Were they anyway difficult?
Not really difficult. Very greasy, but no, there's a lot of long straights and a lot of fast motoring.
It suits the Ascona and you then?
Hopefully, yeah.
That's the way, Mark. Thank you for talking to us. Well, John, now you have to explain yourself. Going straight on in a right-hand corner looked an easy one. What happened to you?
Well, there was this very attractive young lady stood there, you see, and it's slight concentration. No, it was a silly thing to do. I think it's just completely lost, on the braking and missed it altogether. First problem we've had all through the event, and one of those things.
Any damage done?
No, only the front spoiler, suspension and all that's okay, no problem.
Fiberglass is cheap then.
That's it, isn't it? You know, we'll soon put a front on that and no problem.
Good, that's the important thing. Keep going anyway. You're enjoying the pace of it, are you?
Yeah, it's, you know, a lot of rallies last year were all dry, you know, and it makes a change to come over and do something in the wet, and it is very, very slippery. You've really got to watch it, and especially with a thing like that being so wide, it's hard work.
What's your position overall at the moment, Joe?
I think it's around about 10th at the moment, but, you know, the event's only half over.
So you're confident of a top 6 position anyway?
Well, it's possible. It's possible. Hope so anyway.
Keep at it and keep going straight on at corners from now on.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks, John. Well, Ken, in 3rd place at present, and how confident are you in that position?
Well, at the minute we're, as you say, third position, and pretty happy. The last stage we lost 30 seconds to everybody else more than we should have, so we reckon that there's definitely a wrong time, you know. The fellow in the Sunbeam behind us would be, I think, 37 seconds rather than a minute and 7 seconds. So obviously that's something to worry about, but we're letting Coleman and Fagan do their own stuff at the front. We're happy where we are and we're just going to try and stay there, you know.
You go. So how have things been for you today?
Not so bad, I suppose, really. Conditions are a bit unpredictable. We've been on the wrong tyres, unfortunately, and it's cost us quite a bit of time. We hope to rectify it this time out and take back some of the time that we're losing.
Have you any idea how you're doing in class or overall?
We started out this morning leading the class, but we've fallen back to second place, I think, at this stage. But we're hoping to put it back when we sort out our tyre problem.
Keep trying anyway. Good luck, Joe. Thanks very much. Robert, how are things going for you?
Quite well. We started out second in class behind Damien Campbell this morning, and we've overhauled him now. But it's very tight. He's going very well, so there's not much in it. I don't know, about 20 seconds maybe now. We started this morning 35 behind him, and we're about 20 ahead of him now. But it's very close because it's big mileage.
How about Damien, second in class, I believe?
Yes, I think we're just holding second in class. Unfortunately, the 1300 class, up to 1300 class, has been amalgamated with up to 1600 class. So we're running with cars a wee bit more powerful than our own. But it's going okay at the moment, yeah.
Are you enjoying the rally?
I am, yes. I'm enjoying quite well, yeah. It's a wee bit of an experience, the front wheel drive. It's something I'm not particularly used to. So I'm hopefully I'm learning all the time, and hopefully I'll be getting quicker.
Billy Coleman going on looking very secure. Brendan Fagan getting over his flu bug and really enjoying himself. Frank Fennell running slightly out of order there. And he in turn followed by Alan Fraser. Joe Mc Hale going nicely. Mark Reynolds settling down well to the big Ascona, followed by Pap Dunnion going well, and he in turn followed by Ian Calvin and Keith Edwards. John Price followed by Mike Dunnion, who was fighting his way back, and another person putting up a terrific effort and really fighting back was Ken McMillan. Saturday's drama continued, however. Coleman was still first, with Brendan Fagan in second place. But Ken McKinstry was out of the rally, having been third, and former fourth position man Ian Donaldson joins Connolly and McKinstry on the sidelines. Tony, a very brave man, I think, bringing a car like this Ferrari to Galway. Have you found it a terrific handful?
Last night, an absolute handful, yeah. It was incredibly bad for us, you know. It was very, very bumpy. And with this trouble with the bonnet coming on late on Caxton, flying up, we couldn't see where we were going. But these last three stages, we've started pulling up a few positions and we're not happy with it. We're just raising it now, the lads are just lifting it up about an inch, and it should be all right for those three now.
Certainly when everybody heard a Ferrari was coming here, we thought it would be too low. You're managing to get it up now, are you?
Yeah, last night's stages, really, I wouldn't like to go over them in anything too fast. But it's quite suitable for these other three, just slightly on the lower side, and it's easily adjusted.
How about the power? You have a lot of power there.
Yeah, I have, and it's a very good engine. It's lots of bottom end power as well, which just suits the road. You know, it doesn't really matter what gear you're in, you can still make it do.
Well, keep it up anyway, because you're giving us all lots of thrills to watch this big car.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. Thank you. And Drew Wiley continued to attract attention with the Talbot Samba. Joe Butler was neat and tidy with the Manta, and he in turn was followed by Paddy White. But rallying is a cruel sport, and Billy Coleman lost time on stage 17 when the fan belt fell off the car, not once but twice, dropping him back to 5th position. The new rally leader, Brendan Fagan, was also in trouble with a faulty clutch. So at the end of Saturday, the rally order was that this man, Brendan Fagan, was in the lead with the Vauxhall Chevette. Another Chevette in second place, driven by Joe Mc Hale. Ken McMillan was third, and this man, Pat Dunnion, was fourth. Billy Coleman was fifth, and Austin Fraser was a very fine sixth. Seventh was Keith Edwards with another Sunbeam, and he was followed by Mark Reynolds in the Ascona and Ian Calvin in a similar car. Frank Fennell was into 11th place and leading his class.
Brendan, we're used to talking to you in pressure situations, but with a 6-minute cushion between you and the lead and the second place man, very little pressure for you today, is there?
Yes, I don't think there will be much pressure. Once we have a clutch in the car, I can't see there being any problems.
And the clutch was very poor for you on the last stage last night. Were you worried about getting back to Park Ferme in Galway last night and out here this morning?
I was concerned about the traffic more than anything else. Once you got the car going, there was no problem, but it was trying to start off and stop, and if we were involved in any heavy traffic, we could have been in trouble.
How long will you have to change the clutch?
I think we have just under an hour, which should be ample time.
Good. So your tactics for today, just to keep going, is it?
Well, I'm not going to ease up drastically, because I think if you do that you can lose concentration and it could have disastrous results. I'm just going to go at hopefully about 8/10.
Good. Well, keep it up anyway, and we'll see if you get that £1,500 tonight, Brendan.
And if I do, I'll buy you a drink.
Great. Joe, what a nice position to be on Sunday morning. How do you feel about it?
I think it would be a nicer position, Robin, if Billy wasn't so close to me, you know, with a Manta behind me. I don't think I'll hold that position. I'm going to try, but I don't think I'll hold it.
With Brendan's clutch as dicky as it is, and he's going to have to work on it now in service, we could have a Mc Hale winning this rally after all the publicity, one way or another. Perhaps a different one to the one that the press thought earlier last week.
Well, the way that it is with Brendan's clutch, you know, that's going to take about 20 minutes to change. We have an hour here in service, so I cannot see Brendan have any problems. I can't even see Billy catching Brendan. Like, you know, the only way that I could win this rally is if Brendan goes out of it. You know, I don't think no way will I catch him on stage times, even though I've dropped a fair bit of time myself, but still that gap is there, and I hope of catching him.
So your plans now are to sit there and hold on to that second place?
I intend the first time out I'm going to do my best and try and hold the position and see what happens
Billy is after that.
And keep an eye out for the Cork man. Okay, boys, thanks very much. Good luck today. Thank you. Well, Ken, all the way from the deep north. Great to see you doing so well and lying third on this Sunday morning. How are you feeling about it all?
Oh, awake now. I think we started to go better as the day went on yesterday, as the road got drier and the wee car's reasonably good.
Third, do you feel you'll be able to improve on that, or are you going to try and hang on, or what?
No, Billy, I reckon Billy will be up to second very soon, and we'd be happy maybe to get fourth, if very happy with fourth.
Just going for a good placing anyway, you certainly will be, of course. Would that be your highest finish in an international?
It would be, yes. Yes, if we finish.
Good, well, you keep trying to finish anyway. Good luck to you, Ken.
Righto, thanks, Robin.
Thank you. Billy, good morning. Great problems last night on the last stage. What exactly happened?
Quite simply, the fan belt fell off, and we put it back on, and went about 3 more miles on the stage. It fell off again, and the second time we had to actually fit a new belt, which meant removing the oil belt, the oil pump belt also, and the sum total was we lost 10 minutes.
So roughly 9 minutes down and 5th place. Terrific battle for you today. What are your plans or thoughts?
Well, I feel I have to go all out for second place, and well, I mean, it's a long way. We're only 2/3 through at this point, and anything can happen yet, I reckon.
So you think there's a good possibility of scaring the daylights out of everybody else and perhaps intimidating them to give you the lead?
Well, I wouldn't say that, but I mean, we saw this was going like a train, and suddenly she was stopped. So, being the nature of the sport as it is, you know, as I say, a long way to go. Anything can happen.
Well, you have a lot of work to do. We leave you to it, Billy.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Sunday and the last 6 stages, and Joe Mc Hale is a sensational second. Ken McMillan was another surprise packet at 3rd place. Pat Dunnion was a fine 4th, and Brendan Fagan must have stopped before the stage, but he's still leading. Coleman putting on a classic fight from 5th, hoping to get into at best 2nd. Alan Fraser was 6th and leading his class. Keith Edwards was 7th, and 8th placed Reynolds was no longer in the rally. Ian Calvin was 9th overnight, and John Price in 10th place and a class leader. And now the famous corkscrew stage, and a slightly damp one it is too, with Pat Dunnion again. Brendan Fagan now. And Billy Coleman starting to pick up places. Alan Fraser now, as sideways as always, leading his class, 4th overall, a really splendid performance. John Price, who sadly wouldn't finish the rally. And Bruce Kelso, another class leader, and somebody really having good fun with the VW.
Pat, how are things going for you? The car's looking very clean.
Yeah, we now have no problems. We did damage to the steering on Friday night, and had to drive all Friday night with too much toe in, so we had very little steering on Friday night. So we took it nice and steady yesterday. We warmed up, and we had a good run yesterday, and now we discover we are kind of second in class, and we don't have too much opposition today, really.
Are you going to go for first in class?
No, first in class, leading class actually is Alan Fraser. He's about 4th overall, so there's no point, we can't catch him, so we'll tip along and hope for the best, and hope she says going for me, you know.
Right, have you been carrying any of those Homestead products with you for extra weight or anything?
Well, my navigator has been wearing the nappies, Homestead nappies, and I've been excellent, no problems at all. So Robert Maharry is having problems with his, all right, but we're having none with ours.
Keeping the car clean and fresh, that's the important thing. Keep going, lads.
Right,
thank you. Who will I talk to then? Rossa, how are you today? How are things going?
Too bad. Fairly good.
How about your class position?
We're laying second in the class at the moment.
Are you going to improve on that?
It's very doubtful.
You'll be trying anyway. Keep it up, boys.
Give it a good try. We had a suspension collapse on Friday night, but we're got it sorted out and we hope to make up time.
Okay, keep at it, lads.
Thanks, give it a night.
That's the important thing. Be there. Good luck.
Thank you, man.
Joe Mc Hale was still holding on to a fine 2nd place despite the attentions of Coleman, and Pat Dunnion was going very, very well indeed. But Brendan Fagan was still leading very comfortably and looking quite happy. But Billy Coleman was trying. It's not very often you'll see Billy Coleman make a mistake like that. Fraser, on the other hand, has been known to do some funny things. And John Price still managing to keep going. But
Mike Dunnion's fight back up through the field had really been spectacular. Frank Marr now, tackling things his own way. But the man we had been speaking to a few minutes beforehand at Gort was suddenly to be in problems because Rossa McCusker came down and, in fact, at this point, has retired from the rally. Very hard luck indeed because these boys had really been enjoying themselves and had been quite confident. But that's rallying. Pat Kenny had a splendid rally and really enjoyed himself. But many of the crowds enjoyed this car and John O'Sullivan's driving. It really drew attention and the crowds really enjoyed it. And another person the crowds always like, of course, is Angela Murphy, who won the ladies' class and did very well. And Jack Lyons was the quickest of the Sunday runners. Hi, good morning. You've had a pretty fraught rally, haven't you?
Good morning, Robin. We've had desperate problems, I suppose. The brakes are really the worst, costing us most time. The whole system pressurizes and the car comes to a halt. Then we've got to let air in to free it up.
And you're in 12th place this morning. Will you be able to improve on that?
Well, we've come from 42nd on Friday night to 12th last night, so I'd like to think we can improve on that.
Top 10 at least?
Hopefully.
Work at it. Thanks, Mike.
Robin.
We've dropped about 40 seconds to the people behind us, but we're just taking it very, very handy.
How about the clutch change? Did that go all right for you?
It went very well, yeah. It took us about 40 minutes to do it, which is a few minutes over the normal, but the lads just took their time to make sure everything was right.
Is there any reason why you were running sort of third on the road?
There wasn't really. We had to stop on the way out to the first stage and adjust the gear lever slightly. We were having trouble getting fifth, and we just stopped, and it was safer to drop a couple of minutes than attempt a stage without fifth gear.
So with 3 stages to go now, you're reasonably confident, are you?
I'm hearing all sorts of noises in the car that I never heard before, but I'm sure they're nothing. It's my imagination.
Okay, well, perhaps we'll be talking to you in an hour and a half time and you'll be thinking of champagne.
Thanks.
Joe Mc Hale held onto second place
until punctures, as you can see here, and differential trouble dropped him back, allowing Coleman into second place behind the steady Fagan. Pat Kenny was second in class, and Frank Marr was second in his class. Pat Calhoun was third in class, and Jenny Birrell was the class winner. Fergal Ife was third in class, David McWilliams came through second in his class, and Iggy Madden was sixth in his class. John O'Sullivan with the extraordinary Citroen was second in his class, and Jack Lyons was the winner of the Sunday run. Ken McMillan was going forward to his greatest ever result in an international rally, while Billy Coleman got 6 valuable points in the Tarmac Championship and was happy with second place. But Brendan Fagan was the man who was going on to take the honours, and Keith Edwards was coming through as the best British crew and in 5th place. Robert Maharry here, seen going by, was 14th overall and a class winner. But poor Joe Mc Hale, everything went wrong for him and he would wind up in 9th position. Pat Kenny going on, as we said earlier, to second in class and having lots of fun doing it with the Homestead car. Iggy Madden now and John O'Sullivan with the Citroen. He made it to the finish. And so the final results of the Galway International Rally for 1984 were in 10th place, Drew Wiley with the little Samba, and then in 9th place was Joe Mc Hale, sadly. In 8th place, a superb drive by Frank Fennell, and in 7th place was Alan Fraser. In 6th place, after another fine drive back, was Mike Dunnion, and in 5th was Keith Edwards, while in 4th place was Pat Dunnion. In a splendid 3rd place was Ken McMillan from Jordanstown in Northern Ireland, co-driven by David Bowl. His best result ever in an international rally, and a really outstanding performance. Billy Coleman, the man so many people thought would win the rally, finishing in 2nd place, but presumably well satisfied, co-driven by the experienced Ronan Morgan. But the winner for Galway in 1984 was motorcycle dealer from Dublin, Brendan Fagan, co-driven by Ronan McNamee in the Vauxhall Chevette. Brendan has been around rallying for a very long time, and it's said it only took 15 years for him to become an overnight success. This has been another video from Cork Video Services. Our next production will be the West Cork Rally and the Circuit of Ireland rallies and all the top rallies of 1984. So keep watching and keep ordering your tapes.